welcome back to Keeping It Real. And the topic I'm going to speak about now, or speak on now, will be a continuation of True Life. Um, this will be True Life Part 4, I think. Yeah. We're going to continue off about three, two, 2 months ago. I'm sorry, about 2 months ago. I spoke about my son being beaten by two guys or jumped. They tried to kill him. They pistol whipped him, and he was in the hospital. And that really bothered me because even though he's in a gang, yes, he's in a gang. Um, as a parent, you just don't think anything like that would happen to your child, and it did. And I was on my way to work. Long story short, he's fine. You know, his health was fine until a month ago, minding his own business. He was at where he lives, and his ex-girlfriend came over to the house. His ex-girlfriend had come over to the. I don't know what it is about my phone and me and these shows, but anyway, I'm gonna keep it moving because I don't feel like restarting. um, his ex-girlfriend had come over to the house, and his phone had rang, and she answered the phone, and the current girlfriend was the one on the phone. So he, she came up to him and she was like, "Who was this, bitch? Who was this on the phone?" And he was like, "Why are you bugging? We haven't dated in 6 months. I've told you before it wasn't gonna work. You're only over here because your family lives here, so I don't understand. Why are you coming at me like that? We've been over with since the summertime. 6 months ago." And she didn't like that, so she just kept trying to push his buttons. She's one of those hot-headed little girls. She is a hood rat. You know, she pushes buttons, and he's never hit her or nothing like that. But she kept trying to push his buttons, and his biological mother had passed, and at the particular time, I was mad at him for something he had done. Um, so she was, she threw it in his face. She was like, "That's why your mom died. She didn't want to be near you. She didn't want to be around you. She can't stand your ass, and that's why your dad is pissed at you because you're ignorant, you're stupid, you're a dumbass." She just kept trying to sell him out. So, I tried to instill in him, walk away. That's all you got. Just walk away. You know. So he kept trying to walk away, and she was still talking. So, she was just in his face, trying to hit him or whatever, and he was like, "Okay, back up, do what you got to do, just get away from me." So, um, he walked over to the car where she was at, and her and her homegirl were in the car, and he walked over there and he was, telling her, she's very disrespectful, and then they were cursing back and forth at each other, and she said something to him, and she kind of gestured for him to come towards her, so he did. So what she had done was she grabbed his dreads, and she had already had the knife pulled out, and she stabbed him twice in the head and once in the chest. Um, he had to have staples. He was in the hospital once again. Had to do MRIs, make sure nothing was damaged. He really did. It was really bad. Um, as a parent, it bothers you to see that happen. But even though he's an adult, he's 20 years old. You still don't. You don't want your child to be hurt. And I could not believe that she would go to this route just because he did not want her. And all of the witnesses stated he kept trying to leave her alone. He wasn't hitting. He's never done anything. My son's never hit any girl. He's not a woman beater or anything like that. He may have a hot temper, but he would never put his hands on her. But once she stabbed him, I'm gonna just leave it like that. He started losing blood, and he didn't. He refused to go to the hospital. at the time, and they had me on the phone. They were calling me, screaming and yelling. My son had been stabbed, and they didn't know how bad it was. So I rushed over, and I saw blood everywhere. The police were everywhere. It was taped off, and then I was trying to find my son so I can make him get into the ambulance because I know how he is. But they had already taken him because he had passed out from losing so much blood, and I could not believe that the explanation she gave for stabbing him was because she was just upset that he wasn't with her. And I teach my kids, don't ever put your hands on people because they don't have to hit you to hurt you. Not at all. They don't have to hit you to hurt you. So be careful what you say to people and be careful how you treat people. You never know how they're gonna react, or you'll never know how they snap. But she stabbed him twice in the head and once in the chest. And now he was more pissed because he had to cut his dreads off, and his head looks like mine now. Well, not this low, but he had to cut his hair off, and you know he's growing it back, but he's learning. Certain group of friends, stay away from him. Um, he lives the thug life. He lives the game banging life, and I can't do anything but you know let him know I'm still there for him. I'll never give up, and you know he reminds me quite often. He said, when you first welcomed me into your home, even though I was a 17-year-old child, you told me I'll never want for anything. And from that point on, I knew that I had a parent, and you're my dad. Simple as that. And that kind of broke me down because no matter what he does, I still love him. But they just don't get it. And when he's tired, that's what I tell him. When you're tired of the streets, you'll know when you're tired, and you're tired of getting into fights, when you're tired of getting things stolen from you, if you're tired of living that fast life, you'll come down and you'll do what you need to do to make your life better. Um, my second oldest son, on the other hand, had issues with a girlfriend. First true love, and we all go through it. As a parent, you try to console your child. He's 19 years old. My second is 19 years old, and I noticed things about this young woman that he didn't, and I didn't want to overstep my boundaries. But still, I'm a parent. You don't want to see your child hurt. I'm trying to tell him she's doing this, she's doing that. Just be careful. I'm not telling you not to be with her, but just be careful. And um, a month ago, this is a week apart between my oldest son stabbing and what happened with my second oldest.